Hi everyone, it's Starlyn here. I don't really know why, but Spirit is really calling me to share about something that I haven't openly shared about really on my Instagram, on this platform whatsoever. I'm very open sharing about it one-on-one with friends and acquaintances, but I haven't shared about it on here, and for whatever reason, I feel it's time to. So, I had an eating disorder for about 7, 8 years. For about 8 of those years, I was pretty much anorexic. And then the last 3, 4 years, I struggled with, of the disorder. I struggled with binge eating. It was like I starved myself for so long that once I started eating again, I didn't know how to stop. I felt like I had no control over food. So, yeah, I felt like I resisted sharing this part of my life for so long because I felt like I wasn't fully healed from it. But the last week, especially the last couple days, I've been thinking about it more, and I felt healed from this for a while now, but I felt like when I would think about sharing, I would slip up and eat a bunch of crap or be snacking more than I prefer to. And I was like, oh, I'm not healed yet. I can't share this part of myself. But honestly, I feel like I am so much further along than I used to be, because now when I do eat more than I intended, or I am snacking throughout the day, which is kind of how I like to eat. I like to eat a little bit throughout the day, like here and there. They call me a grazer, which is pretty fucked up. But yeah, that's kind of the name that my family gifted me. Um, but yeah, I just like eating like a rabbit throughout the day. Um, and I'll have big meals here and there. But the thing is, when I do eat now, when I have a big meal or am snacking on things that aren't in my highest alignment, I don't kill myself over it. I don't beat myself up anymore. Yeah, I'll have these thoughts like, oh, this is gonna make you fat. Like, you ate way too much almond butter today, blah, blah, blah. But, like, um, I don't really do that anymore. I really check myself, and I reprogram those thoughts. I reprogram what the food is going to be. I have an intention with it, even if, whether it's before I eat it, like, let's say if I'm gonna have like a cupcake or something, or some vegan ice cream, even normal ice cream sometimes. I'm not perfect. Um, I set the intention. I am going to enjoy this. Anything that enters my body is instantly transmuted into the highest frequency that it can be to serve me in my highest and to serve me in my evolution. And I just love myself. And even if it's after I eat, I'm just like, everything that I just ingested is being transmuted into the highest light, and it's going to serve me, and it's going to nourish my body in exactly the way that it needs to. And it just feels so much better. I just let it go. I just surrender to it and accept that I'm human, and sometimes I want to eat more, especially like before my period. Like last night I was so hungry. I ate such a big meal, and then my grandma ended up not being able to finish her meal, and I ate the rest of hers too, and I was like, oh my goodness. And then I still ate after, like 30 minutes later. I was having popcorn and some ice cream, and but I was like, this just feels good. Like, it's okay sometimes. And I was even getting in my head, like, looking at my body. I haven't been working out as much as I used to, but I'm just like, I love my body. I love my curves. Yes, I'm not 94 pounds anymore, but like, thank God, because my body functions properly. I have energy, and I have curves, and like, I am beautiful just as I am. Like, even when I have little rolls, like, it's okay. Like, I'm a woman. Like, our bodies are so magical and so powerful, and it does no good to beat ourselves up, because all it does is just trap us in this self-made prison. So yeah, I want to share a little bit about, what my eating disorder was like. Basically, My sophomore year is, I think it was the summer going into my sophomore year. I was like, I'm gonna get my health in check. I'm gonna start eating better. And I've always been pretty health conscious. My grandparents watched Forks Over Knives when I was in middle school, and they ate a plant-based diet. And throughout their lives, they were always very health conscious. They'd go through phases, as most people do. But yeah, I was always aware of it. So I got into I became a vegetarian, and I just started being more conscious of what I was eating, and I started losing weight, and I started working out at the gym more on top of my 3 to 6 hour practices that I had all throughout high school. I've danced since I was 2 years old, and then I was on the song team in high school, and we had practice 3 days a week, and then during competition season we had extra practices, and yeah, the whole shebang. And we also would run a mile before practice and sometimes after practice as well. And I hated running. I was so not a runner. But eventually I got better at it. And especially once I was losing weight, I was so much faster. I was getting under the time limit, and I was just feeling really good. Like I felt healthy, and my body was like slimming down. I felt super comfortable. And then it kind of just took over. I started counting calories on like MyFitnessPal, and it literally took over my life. It became obsessive. I was constantly thinking about how many calories I was eating. If I wasn't inputting it into the app, I would literally be thinking about it all day to make sure I remembered every single cracker I ate, every carrot. Like a carrot was like 4 calories, a grape was like 4. Like if I had like a saltine, I think what it was like 15 calories or something. If like I would put down if I ate like 2/3 of it. It was nuts. I would add in if I was eating gum, which is 5 calories, these little like Crystal Light energy packets, because had no energy. Those were like 10 calories. Like I was literally counting everything. And it got to the point, I mean, okay, so my weight was about 148 when I started my like sophomore year. I was a thick girl. I had a big ass, and I was plump, but it wasn't like huge, I still was a healthy size. And then I remember I dropped down to around like 127 within like the next probably like 6 or 7 months. And then I went through a phase where I kind of like fluctuated. I wasn't like super strict on it for a while. But then I got into it again, and I started like working out and like going on the elliptical for like an hour and burning like 700 calories on the elliptical after a 3 or 4 hour practice. And I had a calorie limit of started around like 1200, and if I went above it, I had to work out that much longer at the gym, or I had to be way more strict the next day. If I ate under it, it was a great day. If I ate around it, I was like, okay, like we're okay, but like let's see if we can go lower. And then it went to like 1,000 calories was my limit for the day, and then it went to like 900, and then it got to the point where 400 calories was a good day for me. When I was, especially if it turned negative, when I was burning way more than I was eating, that was a good day for me. I felt good. Like it was so sick. And this went on until about 2 years after I graduated high school. But yeah, within 2 years of starting this journey, I went from 148 pounds down to 93 pounds within like 2 years. And I would fluctuate around like 100 pounds. And yeah, it was really bad. My body was shutting down. I would get really cold. I was cold all the time, and especially cheering at like football games when it was in like more of colder weather, like winter. My extremities would shut down. My hands and my feet would go numb. Like I was always cold. I was shivering. Like they would literally turn purple. My mom had to get me these little hand warmer packet things to literally stuff like in my bra and on my body and in my shoes to try and keep me warm. And it was terrible. And I had no energy. I had no libido. I had no motivation for anything. I felt like I lost all this weight, but I lost everything else. I lost my friends, because a lot of what we would do revolved around eating. I stopped going to parties because I found out how many calories were in alcohol, like 100 calories for a shot. That's insane. Like, no way. I would do it once in a while, but I'd feel like shit the next day. Or I started preferring cocaine because that made you not eat. It wasn't any calories and it'd make you skinnier. So I preferred Coke over drinking alcohol, which of course that's not healthy. But yeah, I became very depressed. I was very suicidal. I felt really skinny and like felt good being naked, but like didn't, I was completely empty inside. And it wasn't until I met my last serious partner, who I was with for 4 years, who he really helped me love myself again. He loved me so unconditionally, and I was like, how? Like, I can't even love myself, but because of his unconditional love, it showed me that I'm worthy of love and helped me learn how to love myself again. And so he got me back in the gym and was lifting heavier weights, like putting muscle on. I started eating meat again because I wanted protein, and which it is protein, but anyways, it's still, I started eating so much that I was gaining weight so quickly that it just gave me even more anxiety, and I started projecting a lot of my anger onto him, blaming him for me gaining weight, because especially once I started eating, that was when I couldn't stop eating. I felt like I didn't have control over food anymore, and it completely ate me up. And it wasn't until I just started really going deeper within myself, getting to the root of what this was. A lot of it was control. A lot of it was this belief that I wasn't enough just as I was. So I thought I always had to change something about myself. And it wasn't until I really accepted just who I am and what I was becoming and where my body was at in those moments. Like, it was really hard. Like, I still prefer my body to be slimmer and to look a certain way, but if it's not that perfect skinny six-pack abs, like, I'm not gonna completely shit on myself, you know? Like, oh wow, thank you, body, for holding this weight on my vessel right now. It needs it for whatever reason, because sometimes it's not even my diet. It's just when I'm going through different energetic transitions, when I'm receiving all of this energy, all these ascension waves, my body will hold on to energy. Or if I'm in a toxic relationship or a toxic place, or holding on to this energy, or going through this emotional purge, like, my body will hold more energy, and I'm just like, okay, this is where my body's at right now, and it's perfect. It's just moving out. And then I'll wake up one day and it's like I literally feel 10 pounds lighter, and I don't really do much consciously, but a lot of times if I fully process my emotions and am honest with myself and allow the energy to move through me, like, the weight will also move through me. And I just trust. And also, I'm a woman. Like, we go through different phases. Like, I am more bloated and a little thicker for like a week and a half of the month, as like most women are. And then I like randomly just feel like smaller and thinner. And like, I just trust in the natural cycles. I don't try and control anymore. Like, if I'm more hungry and I want to eat different foods, I let myself eat it. And I just love myself through the process. Like, we don't need to keep beating ourselves up for our imperfections or our darkness or our shadows. Like, these things are a part of us. And the more that we can love them and genuinely fall in love with our darkness, the more we awaken and expand into who we came here to be, the more our light comes through and shines through us. But we have to accept the totality of who we are. We cannot reach this height, this enlightened being, without accepting and acknowledging our roots that go deep into the earth and into the depths of ourselves. And it's dark in those places, but it's not necessarily bad. Like, we need to outgrow that idea that the darkness is bad or evil. It's not. It's beautiful. It's perfect. It completes us. Like, look at the yin yang symbol. There's the dark and there's the light in the dark, and then there's the light and there's the dark and the light. It's just, there's this perfect balance, and that is what makes us whole. What a journey. What a gift it is to be human. So I might share on this more and go more in depth with my journey, but I feel like this is good to leave at today. If you are dealing currently with an eating disorder or have in the past, I am here for you. If you need to talk, if you need someone to open up to and be vulnerable with, I am here. I understand. I know what you're going through. It is so difficult. Sometimes you feel so alone, but you're not alone. Trust me. Because once I start opening up about my own personal struggles with sisters and friends, more than half of them have dealt with the same thing. Like, there is an epidemic of this currently, and there are so many different names that it goes by. Like, there, I don't even know like the name for like binge eating, but I know there's a name for that. Even like obsessively working out, there's a name for that. Like, they make names for everything. Humans really like to label things, but basically there's nothing wrong with you. There's just something within you that wants to be acknowledged. Oftentimes it's our inner child just playing out these different games throughout our life to get us to look at it and to love it and acknowledge it. Like, I felt like I was starving myself so I can literally just shed everything that wasn't serving me so I can come back to myself. Like, my eating disorder was one of the best things that happened to me, because in my isolation, I was just with myself, and I got to hear my own thoughts and connect back to myself again and rebuild myself. Like, literally, physically rebuild myself with who I want to be, not who I was or all my past trauma. I got to recreate who I am with my true soul essence. So I'm here for you if you need to talk, if you need to just me to hold space. I will hold space for you. And so with all of my love and gratitude, I send so much healing light to you. You're okay. You're perfect. All is well. You are exactly where you're meant to be, or else you wouldn't be there. Doesn't that feel good? All is well. I love you. Blessings. Namaste.